Hey everyone, Eric here. In this video, we're checking out the Beetronics Whoctahell. The Whoctahell is one of Beetronics' first ever released pedals. Way back in the day, they made the Whoctahell and Octave, I believe. So this pedal is a recreation of that Whoctahell in a smaller baby size. So the Whoctahell is an octave pedal. We have a fuzz, an octave down, and then 2 octaves down. Before we get into the pedal, let's go over the signal chain. I've got my Woodwright Warlord tuned to C standard, going into the Whoctahell, and then we're going out to the front of the Boss Katana, set pretty clean like this. So the Whoctahell is very simple, very straightforward. We have 3 controls. We have Honey, we have Hell, and we have Whocta. Honey is going to be the level of our dry signal that's fuzzed. So if we start with everything at minimum, you're gonna hear that once we start to turn the Honey up, we have that initial dry fuzz guitar sound that is not octave 1 or octave 2 down. And then if we want that louder, we can just keep turning the Honey up. The middle knob is labeled Hell. That's going to be the level of our 1 octave down signal. And one thing to note about the Whoctahell and its octave generation is that it's an analog style octave, so we have a monophonic octave instead of a polyphonic, which means if you try to play chords, like a power chord or something, the octave is not gonna track as well. It's gonna kind of jump all over the place, and that can be cool depending on what you want. So just be aware, this is kind of that crazy, gritty, unpredictable analog octave. So this is what our Hell sounds like. And you can hear, even when I'm playing single note lines, which is kind of what you're supposed to do, there's not really any rules. Even when I'm playing single note lines, the octave is kind of skipping around and it's kind of not tracking the best. But now I'll play a chord and you can kind of hear the octave sort of jump to which note it wants to octave. And that was just with a root, a fifth, and then another octave. If we get into like major chords, that's gonna be even more chaotic. So then we can just keep turning the Hell control up to get a louder signal of that 1 octave down. Now, one thing I like to do with octave pedals like this is turn it to the neck pickup, because I tend to feel like that helps the pedal kind of track better and sound more like a synth. And this style of octave is often referred to as sounding synthy. And that brings us to the Whocta control over here on the left. This is going to be our signal that is 2 octaves down. So this is even lower than the Hell, and kind of by nature, if you're playing lower notes, it's gonna sound even more chaotic because it's really hard to track those low notes and then reproduce it in 2 octaves down. This is gonna be the level for our 2 octaves down. I'll turn it up a little bit, and this is how it sounds. very chaotic. Again, if you want more of that, you can turn it up. It really makes me personally play kind of runs like that where it kind of sounds like it should be on a synthesizer. The magic, of course, is when we start blending all these signals together. So let's go ahead and start with everything at 50%, and this is what it sounds like with the bridge pickup. Just sitting here, maybe I want a little more dry guitar, so a little more clarity in the actual guitar. So I'll turn the honey up, and then let's say I think the lower octave, the 2 octaves down, is kind of like overpowering. I can turn that down. So now we've got the honey at about 60-70%, hell is at 50, and then the Whoctahell is at about 30. And again, one thing I really like about this pedal is I can flip it to the neck pickup and play the same thing that you just heard, and it sounds pretty radically different. And then let's say maybe I just want it to sound like a synthesizer. So I'm just gonna turn the honey off. So now we have the hell at 50, Whoctahell at about 30. So I'm turning the Whoctahell up to about 50 and then the honey up to about 70. That's just begging for like a chord progression, like arpeggiating a chord progression to make it sound like a synth bass. So now I've got my Squier Classic by Precision Bass, and let's go ahead and hear how the Whoctahell sounds on bass, because this is a very popular effect for bass players. This is the clean sound. Now that is just chaos, because the bass emits such low frequencies that it's almost impossible to reliably track it with this style of analog octave. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it sounds like you just heard. It sounds like chaos, and that could be really cool for a song, or to emote a feeling during a part in a song, or whatever you're doing. And that really highlights how having the independent volumes for each octave is very, very useful. So what I did was I turned the octave 1, the hell, and the Whoctahell down to about 20%, and I turned the honey up to about 60%. So that still sounds pretty chaotic, but you can hear a lot more of the fundamental bass, and it makes it a lot more cohesive to have the mix of the fundamental bass a little bit louder than the octaves down. Now, one thing that bass players really enjoy doing is turning the dry signal, the direct signal, off, just playing around with the 2 octaves down. And also, as we said before, it's really hard to track those low notes, so I know bass players like to play up higher on the neck to get more of that like synthy sound. So you can do other things, of course, like if you just want to highlight the 1 octave down, what I have set up here is the Hell is at about 70% volume, and then the Whoctahell is at about 40, and the Dry, the Honey, is at about 42. I hope you enjoyed this look at the Beetronics Whoctahell Octave Fuzz. If you did and you'd like to learn more about the Whoctahell or any of the other Beetronics pedals, check the description below because I'm going to leave a link to the Beetronics website. I want to send a huge thank you to Beetronics for sending me the Whoctahell so I can make this video, and I also want to thank you for watching this video. I hope you're doing well out there, I hope you're staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're taking care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.